In this video, I'm going to give you a developer starter kit. These are tools that every developer should have to get started as a developer. We'll learn a little bit about your terminal, something called Node.js, Visual Studio Code, and GitHub. With these tools, you can create just about anything. Let's get started. One of the first tools you want to get familiar with as a developer is your terminal. On a Mac, it looks something like this, terminal. You should be able to click the search icon and say terminal to find it. On a Windows computers, there's something called Windows Terminal. It looks something like this when you open it up. Inside of a Mac terminal and a Windows terminal, you can use what are called bash commands. I put a link to this cheat sheet in the description below. This is a bash cheat sheet. These are 25 commands you can use in your terminal. So we'll go through some of these together. The first one is ls. This means list directory content. When you type ls into a terminal, it shows you all the content within the current directory that you're inside of. And the word directory just means folder. Whatever folder you're inside of on your computer, whenever you type ls, it shows you what's inside of that folder. Another important command is called cd, change directory. This is how you can go into a particular folder. So for example, on my computer, I want to go into the documents folder. So I'm going to say cd documents, return. Once I do that and I type ls again, I'm now in my documents folder. And these are all the documents within my documents folder. There's another command called mkdir. This is how you create a directory or a folder. So within my documents folder, I'm going to say mkdir. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to say become a developer. Click return. Then if you type ls again, you should see it in the list. And there it is right there. Become a developer. This is a folder. Now, if at any time this is getting kind of long and you want to clear out your view here, you can just type in clear. You'll still be within the same folder, but it'll clear out everything. So if I type ls again, you'll see we're still in the same folder. I'm going to cd into the folder I just created, become a developer. If you type ls again, you'll see there's nothing inside of it. Let's create another directory saying mkdir, and I'm just going to say test folder. If you ls, there it is. I'm going to cd into test folder. Another important command is called touch. Touch is how you create a file. So within our test folder directory that we're now inside of, I'm going to say touch, and I'll just say index.html. Now, if you say ls, you can see that particular file right there, index.html. And that is enough of an overview of your bash commands. You can go through this cheat sheet to see what other kind of commands there are and test out how to use them in your terminal. But those are the main commands you'll be using a lot. The next thing you're going to want to download is called Node.js. Again, I'll put this link in the description below. You'll want to make sure to download the LTS version instead of the current version. LTS just means it's stable. Sometimes with the current version, they're still working out bugs. So download the LTS version. If you're using a Windows computer, you can click this button. Mac, you can click that button. Once you click on that, it'll start downloading it in your downloads folder. It'll be a zipped file, so you can just unzip it and follow the installation instructions. Once you have downloaded Node.js, you'll be able to use a couple commands. You'll be able to use something called npm and also npx. In another video, I'll go through these more. So you'll want to make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of those videos when they come out. The next thing you'll want to install is called Visual Studio Code. This is a free code editor that a lot of developers use. Probably most developers use Visual Studio Code to write their code. This link is in the description below. You can come here to download Visual Studio Code. If you're using Windows, you can click this link. If you're using Mac, you can click this link. It'll look something like this when you've installed it. Something we'll go ahead and do in this video, go ahead and open up Visual Studio once you've installed it. It should look something like this. If you're on a Mac, for this next part, you'll want to say Command Shift the letter P. If you're on a Windows computer, you'll want to say Control Shift P. It should open up something like this. When you see this, type shell command, and what you're looking for is this shell command install code command in path. Click that button. I've already clicked it, but you'll want to click that to install the code command, and it should say successful. Once you've done that, you'll want to restart your terminal, so you can just exit out of your terminal. Then Then when you open back up your terminal, if you type ls, you'll notice you're back at the root of your computer. So let's go back into our documents folder saying cd documents. If you ls, again, you can see all your documents. I'm going to cd into become a developer, and you can see the test folder in there. Then I'm going to cd into the test folder, and this is the folder I want to open up on Visual Studio Code. So what we just did, you can see there's only an index.html file in here. So what we just did in here when we said Command Shift P to install this code command, what that does is now I can just open up a folder in Visual Studio Code directly from my terminal. So I want to open up this test folder project. And just to make this a bit more like a normal project, I'm going to touch a couple more files. So I'm going to create a couple more files. I'm just going to say index.css to create a CSS file. And I'll say touch index.js to create a JavaScript file. I just want to show you how whenever you open up a folder, you'll be able to see all of these inside of your project. So now within the test folder, I have an index, and I typed that wrong. So this is a good example. So if you ever want to delete something, you can say rm space dash rf and then type out the file you want to delete. Now be very careful once you delete that. Now be very careful. If you type this, there's no going back. It will delete the file forever. But I'm sure I want to delete this because I spelled it wrong. I wanted to say index instead of indes. So I'm going to click that. And if I say ls, you'll notice it's gone now. So let's create that file again, this time with an x, index.js. All right. And now again, what we just installed in here when we said Command Shift P and installed the shell command, now that I'm in this folder, I can just type code space dot and click return, and I'll show you what happens. So now, as you can see, it opened up Visual Studio Code for me from the terminal, and now you can see these different files that we created. So all the contents of the folder that we just opened up are now in here. So that comes in handy whenever you're creating more and more projects. You can just type code dot to open up a project. It's very useful. The last thing you'll need for your developer starter kit is a github.com account. You'll want to go to github.com, click sign up. It's free to sign up. There's no credit card required. This is a free place to house your code. It's called repository. Whenever you hear the word repository, you can just think of a project. So whenever you're creating a new project, you'll be able to save that project onto GitHub. And I'll be going through that in the next video that I publish. I'll be going more in detail on how to use this developer starter kit. We'll create a basic project together using our terminal, Node.js, Visual Studio Code, and then we'll save that project to GitHub. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, like the video if you'd like to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.